But yeah, we do have at least one player for each race. And are they ready, TotalBiscuit? Or are
Well,
they
I know
wait?
HotS is. I'm just waiting to check if CRANK is ready to go. He may very well be pouring water onto HotS' keyboard right now. That is a
Oh, I hope he
possibility.
is.
Yeah, I certainly... Yes, he's ready. Okay, you guys are ready, I hope. So let's kick it off. The countdown has now begun, and we'll be going into our first map, which will be Daybreak. Very, very shortly indeed. This is going to be interesting. I'm intrigued to see what comes of this, because quite frankly, I have no idea what to expect from either of these guys in Heart of the Swarm.
Well, and I mean, number one, it's StarCraft, so you never know for sure what someone's going to do. I mean, sometimes you'll know their play styles and all that, but to even make things and make matters even that much more crazy, I mean, it's Heart of the Swarm. It's kind of hard to judge how long each of these players has been practicing on this specific game. I know for a fact that CRANK has been playing it because he was streaming it right before the stream, but it's going to be kind of a big surprise to all of us where do they try and make new units? Do they abuse the old units because that's what they're comfortable with? And there's like 800 reasons I'm going to be super excited about this, but learning a lot about these players and their playstyles in the expansion is just one of them.
That is very, very true. All right, ladies and gents, they changed color on me. Oh, they did that on purpose, there's no question. They changed color on me at the last possible moment. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's okay. I got this. I got it. There you go. They are now the correct color. So here we go, folks. Spawning on Daybreak to the southwest position, who decided to name his Heart of the Swarm account iPad in honor of his Christmas present. Playing Protoss from Team Axiom, it is CRANK. Versus his... yeah, all right, I'll let you go. We're usually, like, we're the guys who do these intros, and, like, that's our big thing, and now we're clashing. This is going to come down to fisticuffs.
Well, usually we just make really sexy eye contact, and we can communicate via just blinking, and we're like, all right, TotalBiscuit, that was great, but I'm going to take this next one. Also, I'm undressing with my eyes. Anyways, up in the top right side, it is, of course, going to be Complexity's Heart. And for those of you just tuning in, remember, we are going to be seeing everyone facing everyone as these players do live in the same household together. And, you know, there is money on the line, but I still think the most important thing is that the person who gets the least amount of wins also has to do the dishes for a week. Or is it a week? Is that how long it is?
It is a week, yeah. It is a week. A full week. It's pretty harsh, man. It's harsh of the swarm.
Especially since there's so many people living in the house right now. So anyways, that's really what's on the line here. That's what I'm going to be keeping an eye out for. But we do see right there that CRANK going to be throwing his little probes into the gas right away. And remember, the main thing between Protoss and Terran in Heart of the Swarm is that Protoss honestly didn't get that many changes in the grand scheme of things, where every single change that they made is to their flying units. So a lot of times you don't even see that come into play. It's the Terran that you're going to want to keep an eye on here, as they have so many mech openings that they can utilize now.
That's very true, and what we've got here is actually a CC first from CRANK into a barracks, and the second racks is going to go up behind that. Really, really standard, actually, Wings of Liberty played to try and pull that one off on a big map like this, and the 2 racks will allow him to catch up just a little bit with the amount of Marines that he can build, because obviously you're not going to build many Marines out of a command center, Husky, so you need an extra barracks after that in order to do it. We saw one gateway expand here from CRANK. Once again, it's about as standard as you're going to get, and I don't think you're going to be seeing a huge amount of deviation in openings in TVP as of yet. I think the only thing that you may see is a little bit more emphasis towards a slightly later CC going into Reapers, because they do have that speed boost now.
Yeah, and compared to the other matchups, I would say that TVP has definitely been kind of spiced up the least in the early game, because, you know, you will be seeing some Reapers sometimes. You can sometimes see openings with Widow Mines, but at the end of the day, the Protoss has a lot of way of dealing with those quite easily. Primarily the Stalker, also the Mothership Core is going to be basically use the ability that lets you detect burrowed and cloaked units. So really there's no early rushes. Like in TVT, for example, which we'll be seeing this later on, you will most likely see a lot of Reapers as opposed to what you would normally see. So right now, I mean, both players going for the big macro play, which I gotta say, TB, I'm glad that at least game number 1 is looking like it's gonna be macro, because the longer we're here, the better. That's what I always say.
That's very, very true. Mothership Core is now on the field here for CRANK. That's it's a kind of a new unit. I'd say it's kind of cannibalized from an old unit, of course. That can be upgraded to a Mothership with the Fleet Beacon, just like Wings of Liberty. But this thing is, it's a fairly fragile caster. It can fight, as you can see. It's got a repulsor cannon. It doesn't do a lot. I mean, you know, it does slightly more damage than a Marine, but actually less than a Stim Marine, if I recall correctly. But what it can do is it can be used as a detector, and it can also do mass recall, and it can do photon overcharge, which means that you can turn your Nexus into a giant cannon for a while.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting because the Mothership Core is a unit that is useful with your army in the middle of the map, trying to take over watchtowers and things like that if there's not much, and also at your main base. So it's good at offense, defense, and kind of holding the center to try and spot drops and all that. So really there's just a lot of different things the Mothership Core is used for, and what we're starting to see is a lot of players kind of define themselves by how they're going to be using that Mothership Core. Now, we do have the Zealot up here in the center. He does not stand a chance, but he did get a good scout on the amount of Marines there, which is super, super important.
Yeah, it really is, because there's actually an unupgraded Marine push coming across the map. It's not really timed with anything. Probably just to go forward and just have a little bit of a poke there. And what you're also seeing on the screen, for those of you who wonder, what are those green and red circles? These are order indicators. These are new to Heart of the Swarm. It allows you to see exactly which order has been given and where it's been placed. So you can see if they're being ordered to move or if they're being ordered to attack and where that's going to be.
And right now, it does look like the Marine's going to go ahead and retreat on through.
Oh, money scan. Look at that. That scan is so good here for Heart. He just scanned the Dark Shrine going down.
And there's the cancel on the Dark Shrine as well, speaking of which, does decide to change it to a Templar Archives. The reason that this is important is because, number one, yes, you can still get Archons, whether it's a Dark Shrine or the Templar Archives, but if your Dark Shrine is scouted, there's really no use to go DTs over High Templar because Storm is going to be so vital, especially since we're seeing Heart here go for what looks like just a late-game bio. We have the Starport going down, we already have the Reactor going down, and also, remember, the Caduceus Reactor, one of the upgrades that I'm most curious to see. It does make your Medivacs so much more effective at healing, thus making bio a little bit more viable in the late game.
Absolutely true. I'm looking forward to seeing that, plus the speed boost that the Medivacs have got as well. And we're going to see early Storm actually coming out here from CRANK. Funnily enough, as we're drawing to the close of Wings of Liberty, earlier Storm in this matchup is actually getting more popular.
Yeah, and it's something that I think we're going to be seeing a lot for Protoss, especially since, you know, the matchup hasn't been completely felt out yet. And as a Protoss, if you don't know how to beat what you're going up against, the best thing to get is Storm, TotalBiscuit, because it just kills everything anyway. Absolutely.
If you have great Storm control, then that works out so well for you. And, of course, it always gives you the option to go Archon anyway. If you need an Archon early on, say, if this were to hit before Storm came out, which it very well might. I mean, there's no Templar on the field at the moment, just one being warped in right now. Storm is not done yet, and I believe he's not going to have the energy he needs. Actually, no, it looks like it might be timed out with a lineup, so he should have energy for one Storm once Storm completes. The question is, will he get there in time? Because this push is coming in, and here we go. Medivacs are on the way now. Two Medivacs going directly into the base here with a single Marine going around the side. Oh, scouted there by a hallucinated Phoenix.
And actually, that did trick Heart there for a second. I think he thought it was a real Phoenix. Of course, it was just hallucinated, as sentries now do default with hallucination research. So that's not something you have to research anymore. But for now, I mean, the drop has been thwarted. I think that Heart was really looking for a timing there. Now, really, all he's going to be doing is killing off these rocks. But, you know, spotting that in time with good map awareness is going to be giving Crank enough time to get out his Storms, get out his Zealots, and pretty soon his Zealot legs as well. So this is kind of the point of the game where Protoss starts to hit their stride. They still have to watch out for the big Terran push, but I mean, honestly, TotalBiscuit, Crank took a bit of a risk with so much tech. It's paid off because he hasn't been punished for it.
No, he hasn't. And as of yet, we've seen Heart just kind of looking around, trying to get in, but doesn't want to take the risk with the drop as of yet. He does have a fairly large force of... Okay, random stim there for no apparent reason, getting a little bit on the hair trigger there. And I don't believe Caduceus Reactor has actually been researched yet, assuming that he even wants to. Bear in mind, you do need a tech lab on your starport to do that, so you sacrifice the ability to produce 2 Medivacs at a time if you're just using one starport, at least for a while, in order to actually get that upgrade up.
Now, I did notice that Heart stemmed again. It was 2 random stims there, so I don't know if that's to keep the energy low or if he's just still fiddling around with any new hotkeys that may be part of the Swarm. But either way, the Medivacs are going to be a little bit lower on energy than usual, but it doesn't even look, honestly, like he wants to do too much damage right now, as he himself is going to be securing his 3rd base. His 4th potential base is going to be blocked off by a pylon for now, and the Factory for Heart is going to be scouting this 3rd base as well. So, again, I mean, we're talking about how it's going to be a bit of a macro game. That's exactly what we're we're seeing kind of unfold right now. As looking at the units lost, I mean, less than 500 resources lost total in this game, but there is going to be a drop inside the main.
Oh, Storm goes down right now. It's a big drop. The Storm is, for the most part, dodged right there. Needs more defense. Brings in the Archon right there, and a couple of Zealots being brought into the fray, but there's not enough to stop this drop yet. He's going to need a little bit more than that. He does have Storm available. Feedback goes down. Oh, wow! Feedback and then storming the drop as it gets out of there in order to kill it. What a sick move right there by CRANK. And that was well defended. Can have a look at units lost. Only 5 workers killed there, so that was shut down nicely.
Yeah, top left side, though, the third base a little bit exposed here, although CRANK already in position to go ahead and back up and defend this. Notice how he didn't activate the charge right away. He wanted to get as close as possible before using that ability. These Marines are going to try and stem and run away. They're trying to get inside the medevacs. Have got to be careful, though, because High Templar are surely, they could be back there to feedback, and there is units reinforcing on the bottom center. Are they going to try and counterattack here? He's got to be so careful, though. So far, Heart having a difficult time in dealing with this. I mean, to be quite frank, CRANK is sticking kind of to his guns, kind of to classic late-game PvT, where you're getting a lot of Zealots with a lot of upgrades. There's going to be the... and they all go down with the Storm to clean it up.
That's so
CRANK
sick.
Is here with an awesome first game.
That is really good play there by CRANK already in this game. And, oh, there's the Photon Overcharge to try and prevent that. Another Storm goes down. A huge Warped GG, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. And there's the start right there for CRANK. That was some incredible performance as far as I'm concerned from him. And Heart got completely obliterated.